So this is an absolute bombshell, in my opinion, as JD files a lawsuit with the Supreme Court in New York to try to force the ACLU to respond to requests saying whether or not they received $3.5 million in promised donations. You know, those donations from a certain nameless person. So the ACLU, they will not respond to subpoena. They won't come off of this information. And it's interesting. There were actually two parties that were subpoenaed for information. You had the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. They were supposed to receive $3.5 million, and they didn't. And you had the ACLU. Well, the ACLU, they won't come off of any of this. But what's fascinating is that we found out quite a bit about what the ACLU has been up to. And yeah, that stuff, oh man, that stuff is fascinating. Oh man, so hey there, well, you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. And if you'd share this video, that would be appreciated. Also, feed that pesky algorithm the likes and comments that it loves. And if you're subbed to the channel, seriously, just look, see if you're still subbed. And if you're not subbed, well, consider that and thank you. Now, as far as this ACLU situation goes, I've talked to sources behind the scenes, and these sources, they are 100% legit, not using that quote-unquote sources, like the media does, talking about sources in the know. They confirm 100% certainty the ACLU, they haven't been coming off of anything regarding those charitable donations. They've come off of other things, though. They've been actually forced to come off of other things. And that information in and of itself, it is intriguing because when you get to that Washington Post article, that's basically the backbone for what's happening in Virginia. Yeah, they had quite a bit to do with that, but that's another video for another time. But this here, because of the charitable donation question, that has led to this. Exclusive. This is coming to you from the Daily Mail. JD is suing the ACLU to force them to reveal whether you know who this person is. We'll just call him the nameless person over and over again. Ever fulfilled her promise to donate $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Now, I like the bullet point synopsis to this as well. If you don't know anything about it, that's okay too. You have a certain nameless person. They pledge to donate the entirety of their divorce settlement. That's going to be $7 million. They say, I'm going to give it all away to charity. They say they have given it away to charity, but JD's lawyers say that gesture, it was a sham, and they've been trying to confirm whether or not that payment was made. Now that, by the way, that is important too. We're going to get to why that is in just a moment. But the ACLU, they've refused to reveal anything about that whatsoever. Like I said, I've talked to sources about this that are in the know. They have 100% confirmed. They will not come off information about whether or not that payment has been made. So, you have the next step in that. Now you have JD filing a lawsuit with the Supreme Court in New York, trying to force them to reveal whether or not that $3.5 million was ever paid. Now, why is that important, by the way? Because it comes down to this notion of impeachability of character. If you look at this bullet point here, and this pretty much spells it out for you, these two. The donation pledge loomed large in the former couple's defamation case last year. Here's what the judge actually said in their decision. Her donation of $7 million to charity is hardly the act one would expect of a gold digger. Now, that statement, that says a lot, too. Number one, it says that the judge believed wholeheartedly that $7 million, it had indeed been given away, just like the media did. For 4 years, they bought into that hook, line, and sinker. It was actually put into deposition, too. You had that added into the case, saying, again, no uncertain terms. I paid the entirety of my divorce settlement. And yeah, the answer to that, by the way, is, well, that's more of a pledge. That wasn't actually a statement of giving away money. I'm pledging to do that. I would have already done that too, but well, you see all of this stuff that's going on legally. The only problem is the legal issues there. They didn't come up for 2 years after that settlement. So for 2 years, the money sat around. But of course, maybe a Terminator came back and from the future, and said, Sarah Connor, You do not need to give that money. I'm not really sure exactly. That's a terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger. But yeah, you get the point to it. So the Daily Mail, revealed in January that certain person, they only paid $100,000 of that promised $3.5 million to another party. That would be the CHLA. They only got $100,000 of that. I'm sure you saw all of that stuff. And the ACLU, again, they haven't complied where the CHLA has. Now, for me, something that really drives this home is this. This was included in the Daily Mail article as well. This is one of the 10 pictures they have. They don't have the entirety of what's going on, but I think that this is enough. It really drives home how crazy all of this is. So I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to describe exactly what it says, and I really want you to think about some things when we go into it. I'll talk about that at the end. So the Supreme Court of the state of New York, the county of New York, that's the header on that. In the matter of JD, that's the petitioner, the person bringing this forward, versus you have the ACLU Foundation, people that are connected to it. And when you look at this, what you're asking for is an order to compel response to an out-of-state subpoena served in the action of, and that is the Virginia case, essentially. So you have legal going on here. You have it coming up in 2022, and you have a simple question that is laid out for the ACLU. It's a question that you wouldn't think would be such a big deal either. And when you look at that, it is a question that does make a difference. Why? Because, again, it speaks to character. There are claims that are laid out. 14 incidents that we know of. I don't know if anything else has been added to that, but if we continue forward, that's 14 incidents that we know of, plus other claims as well. If you're going to talk about the believability of someone or not, well, it's a simple question. Did they do what they said they would do when it comes to your organization? And the answer is a resounding, we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you anything. To the point, again, you have to go outside of that court, outside of that state. You have to go all the way to New York. You have to petition their Supreme Court for them to say, hey, if you would, maybe you could get them to answer this subpoena. Maybe you could get an answer from them because it's a legal subpoena. It's a just subpoena. And yet what they're doing is they're refusing to do anything. They're refusing to say anything. Basically, they're running out the clock. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, sincerely, I do appreciate you being here. You make this stuff work. No one else does. So thank you. You want to help the channel out? Well, there are all types of options. We have a new shirt, by the way. You should definitely check that out as well. But yeah, you being here, that matters. So thank you. I do appreciate the heck out of you, and we will see you soon.